Hey guys, it's Bina and welcome back. I have a good one for you guys today. This is going to be the Shatter, Totem, Werebear Druid guide for Season 4. So, it is now up on max roll. I haven't spent the entire weekend on this. I spent many hours. I'd say over 20 hours trying to min-max this setup. That came from this video here from UUZL. So, his setup was showing a Brutality setup with so basically this is what he was showing. It was like a Werebear setup with Brutality, sacrificing a lot of armor for tankiness and with the Shatter Totem. So thank you for this build, which his build, he says that he took from this other streamer. I don't know who it is, but no, Sprez, I think. Anyways, that being said, I've worked a lot on this build and I have found my min-maxed version that I like. So I'm going to present it to you guys. I also have the Brutality and the Hardcore variants in the gearing section down here. So if you want to play the Brutality variant, so mainly the Brutality variant will sacrifice some tankiness at the cost. So it will get some damage at the cost of tankiness. I don't really recommend it that much. I feel like the build has enough damage. It does all the content, including Uber, without Brutality. And so sacrificing all of this tankiness, in my opinion, is not worth it. And I also have like a very extremely tanky version in for hardcore here, if you want to do this for like low corruption. But for me, even in hardcore, I would still play the regular variant. Very tanky. Well, very tanky. It's not as tanky as this one, but it's relatively tanky. Can still face tank the pizza from Uber Abroth and has great damage. So let's go straight into it. I'm gonna show some gameplay. So this is gonna be the main variant, right? Not the Brutality one. So how you would play this is basically you are in human form. And in human form, there's a nice thing that you can do with cooldown recovery speed for traversal skill on potion use on your belt. You can pop some potions and just hop like this, right? Between packs. And then as you kill packs, you know, you get to maybe an Omen's Veil or something. Not an Omen's Veil, but an Omen Window. You kill some stuff in Werebear form like this. Then when you want to move around the map, you pop a few potions. Boom, boom, boom. You get to the objective. And then you can go into Werebear form and transform back and smash with your totems in a big AoE like this. So the main damage of this build is coming from Upheaval, which is giving you, which is shattering totems. And we are summoning totems with our relic. Our relic is making us summon all of our totems at once when we use Warcry or when we use it is when we use Warcry or Fury Leap. And since the Fury Leap tree applies to Maul, so when we will Maul, we will summon all of our totems. We will also proc Upheaval, and those Upheavals are going to break the totems and shatter them, and they will explode in a big AoE, as you can see. And this does spell damage. So why does Brutality work with it? It's because Shatter is a sub skill of Upheaval, and Upheaval is a melee ability. So this one, Shatter, inherits the more damage multiplier that Upheaval gets, and that is why Brutality works with it. So you could get Brutality for more damage for melee attacks, and also you could get Madness for crit multi for spells, and both would work with Shatter. So that was a mapping. That was one map. I'm gonna show you guys the new Pinnacle boss. This one here. So let's go on this one. So for the most part, every time that you use Maul, you will have invulnerability window. And then every time that you use Warcry, you have 1 second of invulnerability as well. So what I'm doing right now is I am just holding down both Warcry and Maul. I can actually tank all of this. It's very hard to die on this build because you get so much invulnerability windows. Okay, here actually I spent too much time. I spent too much time spamming without hitting anything. You need to hit monsters for you to sustain your rage. So, of course, that is the thing. But yeah, as you can see, very easy Uber boss here. And let's go see an actual Uber. Actual Uber here, somewhere here. So we are currently in offline mode. showcasing the build. I also have this character online. I am playing it online, but for this showcase specifically, I want to go and show the end game planner version of this build. So you can see with like actual, you know, comparable setups to all of the other builds that we showcase on actual. So you have so much invulnerability. We're also using Throne of Ambition. Throne of Ambition, which is granting us more damage. We're converting... We are converting it to cold, right? The Shatter. And so Throne is giving us 40% more damage. And it's also increasing our damage dramatically as well. As long as we're fighting a rare or boss enemy. So, for example, in Omen's Veil, this would always be up. You would always get your 20 stacks. On bosses, like Uber Abroth, you mostly always get your 20 stacks as well. So long as you're hitting quite a bit. This specific dot, you can't really stand on it, right? Oops. And so every time you're using Mole as well, you pull bosses, you pull enemies towards you. And there's a lot of puddles here. Kind of played this poorly. Too many puddles. And there we go. So that was the Uber. Very, very fun build. Very fun also with the cooldown recovery speed for traversal skill and potion use like this. So you can use Fury Leap very, very often. If you want to as well, you can use it with the what is it called? Cleaver Solution Axe in the Brutality version, especially. If you go on Brutality and you use Cleaver Solution, you can use like Brewmaster Buckle or Jungle Queens to get even more potions. And then with Cleaver Solution, it turns all of your strength into intelligence. And then so it makes it so that every time you use a potion, you will recover mana. So you have like infinite mana and infinite, like not infinite potions, but like you get way more potions. So you can leap like 10 or 18 times in a row. And it's very, very fun to do. So if you want to do that, be my guest. It's probably the best part, like the most fun part of the build, to be honest. But I still use it even on the regular version. It's just you have only like 4 potions. All right. So let's go into all of the skills, the passive and everything like that. And yeah, it's gonna be really good. So first of all, let's talk about the skills. So Upheaval, this is what you are using to is the main node of the build, Rejuvenating Splinters. So you now Shockwave and Sundering Strikes now shatter totems, and then these do spell damage to so every single totem that you have will do spell damage around it. And you have 6 totems because you're maxing out your Summon Thorn totem tree here. And so you will use Mole in Werebear form, which will cast Upheaval. You're proccing it with Tremor Slam and also with Violent Upheaval in the Fury Leap tree. And you're summoning all of your totems with your Lop's Path. So when you directly use Warcry or Fury Leap, you summon your maximum amount of Thorn totem and they gain cast speed. That doesn't matter. But you summon all of your totems all at once every time, and you're shattering them instantly. And so it makes it like a huge AoE, and it all shotguns on a single target, and that is why it's so good. And this ability also have 400% increased damage effectiveness, so that's why it's getting a whole lot of damage. So you are a Werebear build. You're using Rage instead of mana. You are recovering rage in a couple of different ways. So one is going to be invigoration. So early on, if you want to level with this, you can put more points in here. But you also have like a passive here in the Druid tree, which gives you rage gain on crit. So this one is going to be very important to sustain your rage, and also cap your critical strike chance. So that is your rage sustain. You are also getting in Werebear form a whole bunch of critical strike chance. You are using Wizened Claws, where strength stacking. So you're getting spell damage per strength with Wizened Claw. So every point of strength gives you 1 flat damage. And also we are using the Palaris Sword, which gives us 1 spell damage per 2 strength. So this is going to be your main source of flat damage for the build is strength stacking. So this is why the entire build is stacking strength on pretty much every piece of gear that it can. And also going for like strength corruption if you can on, you know, your relic, your rings and stuff like that. The build is also stacking cooldown recovery speed. You're going for cooldown recovery speed pretty much everywhere that you can at tier 7, even on the boots at the cost of movement speed. And the reason why is because cooldown recovery speed will reduce the cooldown of Roar, which is casting Warcry. So if you did not know, while you are in Werebear form, Roar always use Warcry, and Swipe, not Swipe, is it called Swipe? Oh, it's called Swipe. Swipe also uses the Swipe tree here. So these are just replacement effects that happen if you hover over your Werebear form and press Alt. You can see all of the description here. Rampage, Swipe, and Maul, and Roar. Swipe and Roar inherit all bonuses from your Swipe and Warcry skill trees. So why was I saying this exactly? I was talking about the cooldown recovery speed. So you get cooldown for Warcry. So your Warcry is going to be 2.2 seconds when fully stacked up like this. And then you get 1 second of invulnerability. So you have only like 1 second in between every Warcry that you are not invulnerable. But you can use these to use Maul. And Maul will use the Fury Leap tree because you grabbed it in here. And so because you use the Fury Leap tree, when you're using Fury Leap, you are immune as well. So for the most part, you're immune for a second during Roar. Then you're also immune because you have a second charge because of Flight of the... because of Lope's Path, will give you +1 charge for Fury Leap. So you have 2 charges. Well, you are always immune during them. And then you're also immune for 1 second after Roar. And you can also use this again. You see how busted this can be? This becomes very, very hard to kill you because you have so many frames of invulnerability. And yeah, this is just absolutely crazy. This is why cooldown is your number 1 stat. It makes the build deal more damage by doing more frequent Fury Leaps. It does gives you tankiness with invulnerability, and it adds to the smoothness of the build because you can just use your Maul more frequently, so you'll be attacking more often, so it doesn't feel as much of a slog to like wait between your cooldowns because the cooldown is going to be super low. So that is the main thing that we are stacking. We're stacking strength and cooldown on this build. Yeah, and so let's go again into skills, and afterwards we'll go into the gearing. So pretty much everything in Upheaval that does not say specifically, well, anything that is generic in Upheaval, like generic more multipliers or generic penetration, applies to the sub-skill of Shatter. So that's why we are grabbing the penetration here, the more damage here, penetration here. You could also go for the crit multi here. This does apply to it as well. The base critical strike chance does apply to it as well. You can use this if you want to like cap your crit early on. The cold conversion will convert this to cold as well. And then we're going here for more damage as well, and more damage here. So grabbing all of the more damage multipliers that we can. So that is it for Maul. For Werebear, we talked about it, stacking strength for spell damage, applying Upheaval after using Maul. If you have both of these nodes, the Violent Upheaval and this one, it will do 30% more damage. So those are very important to get. You get both of those. You cap your crit easily. You get 200 global increased crit chance with Insatiable here. So this is very easy to cap your crit with this. Alongside, you know, Warcry also has some crit and all of your other crit in your passive tree. It's going to be like free crit cap pretty much. And I'm grabbing here the 3 in Dauntless for move speed while rampaging to just go faster. But these are interchangeable. You could put for more rage sustain, or you could go for more endurance and endurance threshold if you need it. Then in leap, we grab, of course, the invulnerability, all the cooldown possible. The pulling enemy is very nice because it will allow you to either move bosses from dangerous spots like Shade or Julra, stuff like that. It also is very nice in mapping or in Omen's Veil to just like grab all the enemies and make sure that your totems shotgun even more on them. So we're grabbing the invulnerability. We are grabbing also element cleansing. So we are always cleansing element on every single leap that we do. And then we're also restoring some of our health. And then we are also casting upheaval. So, oh yeah, Warrior's Entrance, you get global spell damage and the buff can stack. So cooldown also scales this one since you'll be stacking more and more and more flat spell damage. This is another source of good spell damage that we have. Next, in Summon Thorn Totem, we're mainly using Thorn Totem to apply as much armor shred as possible and also maximizing the amount of totems that we get so that we get 6 of them that shotgun for our Shatter. So maximum totems, armor shred chance, and then we're going for the Rotten Core, which will add more hits to our totems. I've seen a lot of people going for the cold conversion. You do not need this at all. I'm not quite sure why they are using this. Maybe just for the looks or like for the MTX. If you want, you can convert it to cold. Since like these nodes here in Winged Thorns are not super important, travel faster and further, and double prod chance when you're summoning a totem, because when you do summon them, they cast their thorn immediately. So it's you know, just a chance for double projectiles is pretty nice. In Warcry here, we are grabbing the invulnerability, of course. We are reducing the cooldown to 5 seconds. You could decide to remove this point and put it in here instead, Frigid Breath. So that would make it so that when you freeze enemies, they take increased damage from hits if they are frozen. So you would have like maybe like one hit that would have 15% more damage. But the cooldown is a little bit longer, so you would not have as much uptime on your Warcry. And so you would be missing out on a little bit of uptime on your crit chance because you're getting 200% crit chance on Warcry with Battle Cry and Bringer of Winter. Overall, I think it's better to like keep the cooldown node and never really stun or freeze with Warcry, but you can try it out if you want. We're getting another element cleanse, some more healing, chance to recast on crit. This one is not super important, but you know, there's nothing much better to do than grabbing this in this tree. We're also making Warcry hit with spell physical damage so that it applies one more of our elements that we are dealing. And also, yes, pulling instead of knockback. This is pretty nice as well. So this pretty much covers it for our skills. Now for the passives, we are grabbing all the strength as possible. We're grabbing the strength for our flat spell damage scaling. Strength also scales our armor, of course. Without the Harmony of Blades, you cannot dual wield, so make sure that you take this one here. We don't care about the attack and cast speed since we are basically a cooldown based build. Rageborn here helps a lot with the rage sustain, as I said earlier. You get the rage gain on crit. And then we're grabbing as much damage reduction as we possibly can with Impervious, with Hide Skin, giving us health gain as endurance threshold. Everything else is pretty straightforward. We're using Boar Heart, so make sure that when you are playing, you are actually using Rampage once in a while or Evade to keep your Boar Heart damage reduction up. So while you are attacking monsters, you can just like tap Rampage and it will just it will not move you that much, right? And you will get the Boar Heart buff, or you can use Evade as well. So very important. In the Shaman tree, we are grabbing cooldown recovery speed for Fury Leap, which helps us, of course. A 2-minute penetration, and then 1 point in Tempest form. You go for 1 or 2 point in here. This one is mainly used to get shock chance on hit. Shock will increase the chance that enemies get stunned. And since we're like a big hitting slam build, we can actually stun quite often. So shock is good. So grab 1 or 2 points in Tempest form. I decided to go for 1. Because I don't want to like invest too much into stun anyways. But having 1 point there is very nice. The rest is pretty straightforward. I think it's self-explanatory. Rancor makes it so that we don't have to swap back in and out of form in between echoes or something like that, because we will not decay our rage out of combat. Strength penetration, yeah, pretty straightforward things. Okay, let's go into the gearing now. So I have 3 variants for this one. The regular variant, which is using Evident Eye of the Weaver, which helps us cap our crit super easily, gives us plus levels, since we're stacking so many attributes. It's just a very nice amulet. So I think it's a good time to talk about certain bugs that there are in the game currently. So even without these bugs, the build would still stay the exact same, but currently the Abandoned Eye of the Weaver set, which gives us legendary affixes on equipped Weaver's Will weapons, have 50% increased effect, does work on every single legendary affix in the entire game. So any type of weapon that you have will get this effect, even if it's not a Weaver's Will. So currently, it's getting a bit more damage from our Mad Alchemist Ladle and our Polaris of Sacred Light. You would still use this even without it. And then the second bug that I want to talk about is a bug in the Upheaval tree with Glacial Crash. So Glacial Crash says this effect is doubled while using a two-handed weapon. So it's supposed to double your penetration with Fizz or Cold if you're using a two-hander. Currently, if you're using if you are dual wielding with Glacial Crash, you get the double effect for Cold, but not for physical. So you're getting 80% pen instead of 40, which is again another beneficial bug, but you know, the build would still stay the same even without this bug, and this is not the reason why we are going Cold. So yeah, I just wanted to preface this with that. Let's go into the gearing. So Mad Alchemist Ladle easily gives us Frailty, Shred. Mad Alchemist Ladle in combination with one idol with a Corruption of Slow chance converted to Armor Shred. This easily helps us get Armor Shred cap, quote soft cap, quote unquote, with our totems as well. So make sure to get a higher roll of Slow and Shred on your Mad Alchemist Ladle. It's going to help you greatly. So on this one, I try to go for 2 LP with 1 Corruption. So I've added this Corruption because you got a 1 in 12 chance when you use a Rune of Corruption to actually hit a crit multi-corruption on your wand. So it's very easy to get. Ladle is super easy to get with 3, even 4 LP is target farmable. But a 2 LP and Corruption, you'll just get so many Ladles. If you want to grab the Mad Alchemist Ladle, I've been asked on this quite often on stream. Like, Bina, where do I farm a Mad Alchemist Ladle? You farm it by killing exiled mages. You kill exiled mages to obtain a Rune Prison Complex with an Echo. The Rune Prison Complex with an Echo, you imprint it in your web, and then you just farm the Rune Prison Complex. That is the main way to get many Mad Alchemist Ladle. You often get even more than 1 per Rune Prison Complex. So that's the easiest way. Like finding your first one is a bit hard, but afterwards it's super easy. Polaris of Sacred Light, we're using this one for the flat spell damage per 2 strength here. It's the most important thing that is on this weapon, and it's super easily obtainable with multiple LP. This one you can also target farm with 4 LP, no problem. But I decided to go for 2 LP and a Corruption for the endgame planner. So, you know, this Corruption is actually very strong with crit multi, rolls super high. And if you did not know, getting a Corruption tier 1 versus a tier 7 has all the same weighting to it. So once you hit the actual crit multi Corruption, it has the same chances of hitting a tier 1 and a tier 7. So on average, you got a tier 4, which is about like 40-something% crit multi, which is huge. It's very good. So these are for our weapons. Our primordial unique is the Legends Entwined. So on this one, we go for strength. This one will give us all attributes, all res, and plus skills per complete set. We are completing the Last Bear set with our helmet and our body armor. So on this one, I've added a section. The chance to seal a tier 1 affix on an exalted item with 4 affixes is guaranteed. So what this means is that if you get, for example, you know, you get a body armor with an open prefix, you slam, you craft a tier 1 set affix on the prefix, and then if your exalted item has 4 affixes, right? If it's full affixes, your tier 1 seal is guaranteed. So it's very easy to obtain, not super hard to craft as everyone thought. You know, it seems to be the patch where everyone is like, man, like another set crafting build, and it's gonna be a pain to craft. but sealing these is super easy. You slam a tier 1, you seal it, and then you craft your item as regular. So good luck with your crafts, but this is why we're using these. We are also going for cooldown recovery speed on this one here, and on this one we're going for +4 to upheaval. There's another one that you could get if you happen to get it, is crit multi-wall transform, which also wouldn't be bad. You could get this on the helm as well. But strength in this, we are completing this set. We are completing the Abandoned Eyes of a Weaver. So we're getting another plus skill, and also, you know, getting this bug applying to these weapons. And then we are also not completing the Dwarven set, but the Dwarven set is giving us 20% more damage while dual wielding if your main hand is different than your offhand. So because we're using a wand and a one-hander, we are getting access to this 20% more damage while dual wielding. So very, very nice. Of course, there are other options for belts if you want to go for a tankier version, but you know, we're tanky enough as it is. Red Ring, kind of a no-brainer. All res, all attributes. You try to go for this. And then we are going, these boots are super important. The main role that is important on this one is going to be increased cooldown recovery speed for Fury Leap. You want to get this as high as possible, as I said before, for all the reasons why cooldown is good for this build. And go for cooldown recovery speed tier 7. For Lope's Path, which you cannot play the build without, right? I mean, technically you could with idols that gives you chance to spawn a Torn Totem on hit, but it's really not recommended. You would lose all of the power from your idols. So on this one, what you really want is a high physical res roll. What this physical res roll is going to do is going to easily cap your res with physical, because that's going to be one resistance that is going to be harder to cap on this setup. As you can see, we're a bit lower here. This is not taking into, these stats are not taking into account, by the way, the elemental res while transformed, and also not taking into account the Legends Entwined. I'm trying to get this fixed for the planner. Should be fixed pretty soon, but you know, D4 launch is at our doors, so resources are scarce right now. Grasp of the Blood Mage, so this one is going to help you cap your critical strike chance, and also gives you cooldown, also gives you damage taken from hit. It's dealt over 4 seconds, so it's tankiness, it's crit, and it's cooldown, so it's extremely good. And then in Aspirational, when we swap to the Aspirational setup, if you do Uber Abroth and get Immortal Vice, you get even more tankiness, because this build has so much, endurance threshold, right? Our endurance threshold is about like a 50% of our health. So that damage reduction below your endurance threshold is going to be huge. You also get some melee damage leech, health and strength, and then you can cap your crit by swapping your helmet to a this is a Raptor helm, which gives us a 3% critical strike chance implicit. So that's going to be very, very good for the aspirational setup. On your idols, you cap your critical strike avoidance with the idols. So try to go for high rolls on these. A little trick that I have is, don't necessarily try to go immediately for the enchantment on these idols. Grab, you know, roll prophecies, grab idols that have both of the stats that you want, and then just spam Rune of Corruptions on them. And so how that works is that you have a chance to maximum roll all of the affixes on your item. And so getting like a perfect regular idol is quite easier than getting a perfect one, like, or very high roll one with the proper Weaver enchant on it. And so yeah, try to get this with a decent altar to cap your critical strike avoidance. Make sure that you are at 100%, because if not, critical avoidance is not very reliable. Throne of Ambition, this one is always the same, never has roll ranges, so try to get a very good corruption on this one. There's a couple of ones like immune to chill, all res, stuff like that. All res will help you cap your res more easily. And then for the rest of the idols, basically capping res and getting a little bit more damage. Very important, the slow chance convert to shred. This in combination with the Mad Alchemist Ladle is super, super important. It's going to help you cap your shred on enemies more easily. Okay. So that was for the regular version. Now for the Brutality version, you are using Exulis, which is available from the new Pinnacle boss. So there's a couple of options you can do with Brutality. Brutality increases your damage at the cost of tankiness. So if you want to go for more damage, So this is the way to go. But using Brutality reduces your health leech and also reduces your armor, because you won't be getting percentage armor per point of strength. So your armor is going to be super low, and your health leech, if you reach 200 strength, will be disabled. There is one way that we can do to mitigate this, is using our corruption on the gloves for increased damage leech as health. So this counteracts the Brutality reduced health leech, which gonna make it so you can actually see this in your character sheet as well if you go into damage, I think. No, here, increased health leech. So in defense tab, you have increased health leech. This is gonna be at minus 100 if you reach 200 Brutality, right? But this is gonna change with this one here, increased damage to health. Make sure that you are not at 100, at minus 100 in that current stat to be able to leech still. If not, you'll only have to be relying on the health coming from shattering the totems, from the health gain on kill or hit, the health on Fury Leap here with Wings of Endurance, and the health from Warcry. It's not as reliable as getting a leech. Leech is still very important, so I strongly recommend that you go for the corruption on your Grasp of the Blood Mage with 1 LP. This glove is super easy to get with 1 LP, so you'll have no problem getting this corruption. So this is for the Brutality version. And how do we mitigate the armor loss that we get? Well, there's a couple of things that we do. We change our altar for a Carsonized altar, going for 200, like a high implicit for the altar. So anywhere upwards of 200 armor per idol in a refracted slot is going to be good. We're also changing a blessing. So instead of the cold shred blessing, we're granting the increased armor blessing. And we're trying to go for corruptions on ring, relic, and possibly helm, but like it's gonna be harder to get because it's a crafted item. But on your Legend Entwined and your Lob's Path, you can easily get plus flat armor and strength here. So try to get this as much as possible to mitigate the loss of strength that we get for Brutality. So what else can you get with Brutality? You can get anything, but you don't want to go for Rampancy. Rampancy is gonna make you take more damage, and it will remove all of the resistances that you get from Vitality as well, and the health. It's just, don't go for Rampancy, go for anything else. The best one is either Madness or Guile. So Madness will give you critical strike multiplier for your spell, and Guile is going to give you cooldown recovery speed at a cost of even more armor. So yeah, so up to you what you want to go for. Ideally, I would probably recommend going for Madness, since we are capping critical strike avoidance and not reduced bonus damage taken from crits. So we have basically no downside. We're also not using ward at all. So Madness is probably the best one, but if you want a little bit more cooldown, Gal can also be an option. And if you go for Madness, like I said before, Cleaver Solution can be a good alternative if you happen to have like a better Cleaver Solution than a Palaver Sword. And if you do, you might want to swap to a Brewmaster Buckle or Jungle Queen's Chaps of Holding to get many potions while mapping, and then being able to leap and recover all of your mana all at once. Or you could spec into more points into the mana cost here, Crater, instead of, you know, maybe not pulling enemies. But I still feel like pulling enemies is a very, very nice quality of life. So yeah, let's talk about the idols as well. There are some small idols here. So 40 flat armor and 5% increased armor is going to be huge for any Brutality setup. So yeah, those are idols that you might want to be looking forward to. All right, and then the hardcore version, a lot more tankiness at the cost of a lot less damage. So if you want to be super tanky, this is an option. Also using a two-hander and going for a physical version. So pretty easy to gear, pretty easy to get started, and yeah, overall very, very tanky. So that pretty much covers the build, guys. If you want to click the loot filter, okay, so I separated the loot filter into two buttons here. This is the endgame loot filter, which includes the Brutality and the regular version, and then the hardcore variant, because it was so different, I did not want to put it in the original filter. So it's like a separate planner here. If you click on it, it has only the hardcore version here. But yeah, so if the other planner has both the regular and the Brutality version. So once you click on the planner, if you want the loot filter, you click the loot filter button, and then there's like all the different levels of strictness that you can select here. So that pretty much covers the build guide. I added a few FAQs. Isn't swipe higher damage? So as we've seen in the video from the Yuyuzu, I think was his name. He was using swipe to stack Aspect of Panther and getting more global damage per stack, and you get up to 7 stacks, and getting crit multi as well per stack. Yes, swipe is more damage, but overall, when you are playing the build, and even on bossing, right? But mainly on mapping, you won't be stopping to swipe, stack Aspect of the Panther, and then hit with your maul, right? So what you do in maps is you just, you go to where you want to go, and then you just start smashing right away, and then you move, and then you start smashing right away. So swipe is not very much used in maps, and even during bossing, sometimes it can be annoying to keep your stacks up, and then you're not as easily capping your crit with Warcry, since Warcry gives you 200% crit chance, it gives you 1 second of invulnerability, it cleanses as well. Like there's so many upsides to using Warcry, including quality of life. And it's a lot of quality of life, but it's also tankiness with the 1 second of invulnerability. So that is why I decided to go with Warcry. But I'm still showing you guys what would be the swipe tree if you decided to go for it. So if you want to swap it out and try it, be my guest. I decided to opt out of it. What is the best way to farm Mad Alchemist Ladle? I added a little bit here, and then wait, why does this have... I actually need to remove this tree from the Mad Alchemist Ladle thing. And then, is this build affected by any bugs? Here I mentioned all of the bugs that I mentioned earlier. The one for the Abandoned Weaver set, and the one for Glacial Crash in Upheaval. So I think I covered all of the basics about the build. Someone is mentioning how to get red rings. Red rings is on average, if you are COF, 1 red ring per 200k favor. If you haven't looked at it yet, I have a way to farm favor, which is using the Rune Prison Complex Woven Echo as well, and resetting it. And if you kill all the mages with the proper Weaver tree, the Weaver tree that adds double the twin mage chance, and then you get the champions that appear with the Exile mage, you can make a whole bunch of favor. Even at 300 corruption, I was making between 300 and 400k favor per hour with this strategy. If you're doing this at 1,000 corruption, it's gonna be even higher. So long as you are fast and killing all of the Exile mages, it's very easy to make favor in this game. So yeah, get your red rings, put them into the Nemesis, get the 1 LP, and then slam it. You would use red ring on this build even without the strength. The strength is just extra on top, right? So you don't need a 1 LP red ring. Use a regular red ring. It's gonna fix your res, gonna make your life easier, gonna make you tankier. And yeah, so that pretty much covers the build. I hope that you like it. I've spent a whole lot of time on this one, and I'm gonna go and play this one online in hardcore. If you want to hang out, just stop by my Twitch. And if you like these sort of videos, I don't really say this very often, but leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, comment, and I'll see you guys all